Good evening. Welcome to the Medfield School Committee meeting of Monday, March 14. We just come from executive session for the purpose of discussing collective bargaining. Agenda tonight, we're going to table the minutes of January 25 just because we have a small group tonight. We are going to consider the approval of a trip to New York for the high school. Have a strategic plan update, turf field project update, and take some donations, and then have the superintendent's report. And if it's all right with the committee, I'd like to take the agenda out of order and start with the superintendent's report, at least with respect to the FY17 budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as you know, we recently met with the warrant committee and had a conversation about our FY17 budget. At this point, our budget is at 5.4% increase over FY16, and the warrant committee had requested, and the town requested, a number around 4% increase. So we had our meeting. They had submitted some questions to us, and we answered. We had 15 questions, just clarification questions on our budget, and some more detail in certain areas. So what I'm going to present to you this evening is a recommendation for reductions to our FY17 budget. And Michael, if you could. So just our school committee approved budget is currently at 5.4, and town and warrant is looking for 4. So just want to review our priorities that we started with in the beginning of this process. I think it's always important to keep that in mind, especially when we're going to look at reductions. So we wanted to really maintain and enhance our current staffing levels and programming, and we have additional positions that are in our budget. Remain committed to professional development, additional staffing in the pre-K through 12 to support our social and emotional needs of our kids. Obviously technology, continue and expand our current initiatives, and then maintain our revenue generation. And that's making sure that we continue programs with tuitions, fees, and grants. As you know, we offset our budget over $2 million each year, and paid for over 46 full-time equivalent positions outside of our budget. So we want to make sure that we can keep doing that in supporting our district. So the 5.4% increase, if you remember correctly, this is from the public hearing. So maintains our current staff and programs, includes steps and lanes and cost of living increase in the teacher's contract. Level funds our technology, level funds our professional development. Eliminates one section of grade 4, and if you know, in previous years we eliminated one section of grade 3 and grade 5 in FY16, and then the previous year grade 2 in FY15. It adds guidance support for the elementary schools, adds additional school psychologist time at Dale Street, increases the reading support and civics at the middle school, creates a transition program here at the high school, creates engineering and robotics courses, civics and computer science at the high school, adds another special education teacher, adds another ELL teacher, which we really need to do in terms of our mandates, and increases the teaching assistants work here by 4 days. Remember the conversation we had around that it's important that our teaching assistants and aides have the same training that our teachers do, and we offer professional development 4 additional days during the school year. We want to include those folks in that training. So those are the real important pieces of FY17 and what that 5.4% increase accomplishes. So now the proposed reductions. So we want to get down to around 4%, and by doing that we needed to make some reductions, and as you know the budget's 84% staffing, so we had to look at staffing as our reductions. So the first thing that I would recommend is a one FTE world language teacher. So we're actually not cutting that position. We're going to move that into a revolving account. We have a revolving account that we get for students that come and exchange students from other countries. We started that 2 years ago, that revolving account, so we have enough money in there right now to cover the salary of one world language teacher. One FTE custodian. This is an elimination of this position. We had a recent resignation this year, just last week, of a current custodian. And we feel like, based on the industry standards of square footage that custodians clean, we feel like that we can cover the high school with one less night custodian. So we feel really good about that. We looked at it, and I think that we're choosing not to rehire this position for next year. Will save us the $45,000. On March 1st, and we wouldn't have had this information at our last meeting, but on March 1st is a deadline for teachers that are on leaves of absence to let us know whether they're coming back or not. So prior to that, we budget for them to come back, and most of the time, teachers on leave of absence are big ticket items, or higher level teachers in the top step, etc. So we got word back from a few that are not coming back. So the differential there saved us $132,000, which is a big savings. It's almost like the savings you get from retirement. Very similar. You know, you have a person on top step and probably far right on the horizontal that's not coming back for a year, and then you replace them with someone with a master's 4 or 5, and you have some savings. So significant savings there once we got all the information. And of course, everyone waits till this year was February 29th, there's a leap year, February 29th to give us that notification, so we have that information now. Savings from our ELL staff, we had a resignation of someone on ELL that's currently working. That was a top step teacher, and replacing her with someone that is a lower step saves us $20,000 there. And then we did look to eliminate 2 FTE aides. We had 4 aides in the budget, so that was an aide in 1 in third, 1 in second, 1 in third, 1 in fourth, and 1 in fifth. So we looked to cut 2 of those right now, so each building would get 1 in Wheelock and 1 in Dale Street. Not great, but certainly better than what we have currently in terms of our aides. We went through the technology budget and feel like we can survive with a $40,000 cut at this point in technology, and hoping at the end of the school year there'll be additional money left. We could purchase some of the materials we might need out of FY16. We're not sure that's going to happen this year, but we're hoping that's the case. And then our research and development, which is money given to teachers that develop programs over the summer, curricula, all those types of things. That we feel like we can cut that $20,000. We did cut it $20,000 last year too. Historically, that number has been $90,000. We went into FY16 with 70,000, and we feel like we can do it with 50 with some restrictions. So we're going to have to really limit some of the programming that teachers develop and some of the work they do over the summer. We felt that was an area that we could safely reduce that wouldn't impact kids as much as additional positions. So with that total reduction of over $378,000, our new budget number becomes $31,630,315.41, and that gets us down to a 4.2% increase. So not the 4 yet, but I think this was a way for us to. One of the things you notice on this is all those positions that we felt were really important for us next year, they're all still in the budget.
So even the ELL, I understand somebody at the top level has moved out, so you've got folks on a lower paying scale, so the difference of savings is the 20.
Right, so that's someone that we're hiring right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so this person resigned a couple of weeks ago, and we're replacing that person, so we're making the assumption that the new person we hire will come back.
So
the additional ELL position is still in there.
Right. Okay. So do we meet our mandated requirement for ELL?
We're closer. We're much closer.
Okay.
We're not there yet. We're
Okay.
definitely closer.
Now, how about, so for the world language, I get where you're getting that money from. So next year, are we planning on still fulfilling, feeding that pot with exchange students?
We will. So this is the only issue around making this cut and using this revolver is we're probably not going to have enough the following year, next year, FY18, to do the same thing. So this position is going to have to go back into the operating budget next year, because we're going to deplete that for this salary, and then we'll start building it up again next year. So probably in 2 years we could do this again, but we won't be able to do it next year.
Right. Now, the technology, is that, when I went to the high school meeting, they talked about getting the juniors for next year Chromebooks.
Still in there.
Still in there.
Still
Okay.
And we need that because we need
The
those
park.
Chromebooks to be able to do park, right?
Correct.
Or MCAS 2.0, whatever it is.
Well, we got an email today. The state is asking us to refer to it as the next generation MCAS. That's what the official name they've asked us to refer to publicly as. I just did that
This
first.
week, yeah.
Yeah.
How much revenue is there annually in that revolving account that we're now tapping? I know it's only been in existence
This is the second
2 years, right? So
Second year, so it's 32? 32,000.
so this is really just a short-term
It
solution.
is,
to
it's a
long-term
short,
problem.
it's a 1-year solution, and hopefully we'll.
And so last year when we had the 32 in, we just banked it.
We did.
And did we have something in mind for that money when we created the revolving account, other than this? Or?
I mean, I always like to create revolving accounts to offset, operating, so I think that was in the back of our minds, but we wanted to do it maybe a couple more years before we started tapping into it. I think in the back of the mind was, if we were to add French in elementary school, that would pay for it, as opposed to putting in operation. So I think that was really the focus we had, but I think in this particular case, we really felt strongly, I know that administratively, I know you folks did too as a committee, to be committed to those positions with guidance and
Yeah.
school psychologists in elementary, so I think this is a way that, we can do that.
So for example, the R&D, can we get any grants for that?
So we get Title IIA federal grant, which pays for some professional development. R&D really is professional development, but it's strictly payroll. So we don't buy supplies with that. That goes right to teachers' hourly rate of any work they do in the summertime. So we could look at using some Title IIA money there. It's, part of it is making sure that, and the strategic plan is going to help us a lot with this too, is making sure that the request that we get for summertime work is in line with what we're doing as a district. So, this might force us to tighten that up a little bit. Certainly not as much as we've had in the past. And historically, like I said, historically it's been around 90,000. And this will get it down after 2 years of 50,000.
And so the ELL teacher you're replacing resigned effective immediately?
She's
or?
gone, yeah.
Okay.
She gave us a 2-week notice, so she finished up last Friday.
On characteristics. So are you hiring a long-term sub or a?
No, we've actually found
Credentialed
someone
teacher.
else that lives in town, that is teaching another district, who was notified that her position after 12 years was going to be eliminated. So we're able to bring her in.
So you're bringing her in though immediately or?
In about 3 weeks.
Okay.
So right now we have assistants, EL assistants covering
Right.
the services for our kids.
Okay.
Which is putting them out, because they're doing a lot more than they normally
Yeah.
would.
Right.
But at this time next year, we'll have 2 full-time ELL teachers and 3 assistants. So we'll be pretty good in terms of covering. We have 34 kids in the program right now. And it's not the kids, it's the mandated hours that you have to, that are required for each kid. And that's the difficult part of making sure we're in compliance. And we're a lot closer with this time next year than we are right now.
And the leave of absence, the number, that's about 6 teachers who were on a leave of absence, usually for family leave, who decided they're not coming
So
back for the
family leave, military leave, those kinds of things.
medical leave.
Yeah. So we do have some coming back, so we had a bunch out this year.
Right.
So we had 2 coming back and some of the other ones that aren't coming back.
Okay. Other questions from the committee?
No, just a question with the ELL staff. You said we're getting closer. Are we penalized in any way if we don't meet that?
Well, I think the department has told us, Department of Education,
given
we have
leeway?
to submit, they come out, review our program, and they just let us know that we need to continue to work toward that. The problem with this was an unfunded mandate.
Right, right.
So it
Yeah.
became a real issue. I think we spoke with the warrant committee last week, and, one of the issues around it is the individualized instruction that kids get could be, 400 hours a week, or, it's a lot of time, that 400, not a week, but it's just a lot of time that's one-on-one that's required. And, we don't get that for non-ELO kids either, but it's a requirement that we have to do, and the department tells us to keep working toward it. Frankly, I don't know any district that's in full compliance.
Got it.
I really don't. Districts are struggling.
There aren't enough certified ELL teachers.
That's part of the issue too. Yeah, not enough ELL certified folks there.
Okay.
I think you have other questions. Questions from the floor, so to speak? So we need a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation.
So, Mr. Chair, if I could, I just wanted to discuss if you wanted to vote the new budget number tonight and/or look at it again on April 4th, or do you, just the number that you would want to go in with? It's really up to you folks, your budget at this point. We can certainly look at it next couple of weeks and see if we get more information, but this is pretty much.
I mean, do you feel good about this?
I feel good about this, yes, I feel good about this.
I'd be inclined to vote I think the
feel
warrant
better
committee's.
about 5.4%, but I feel.
Yeah.
I feel okay.
Ditto.
I think the warrant committee's trying to wrap up because they have some transition going on in the warrant committee, so
Okay.
I prefer to give them a hard number to work
Because I'm
with.
just thinking for the budget mail, that whatever number you end up voting, whether it's tonight or the 4th, will be the number we send out to the community, so.
Yeah.
Do we have any more information on the out-of-district kids at this point?
At this point, the most recent is that they're going to stay status quo. At this
So we're fully covered on that at this
We
point
are.
in the budget?
We are.
And anything would be a windfall if
Right. So
things change?
the only other wild card that we don't know and won't know until after April 4th is whether or not we get extraordinary release circuit breaker, which we applied for, and Michael and Matt went to a meeting today for that with the state. So that would give us an additional amount of circuit breaker to offset some of the costs, but we don't, it's not guaranteed, we don't know. We won't know probably until, big money,
End of April,
in April, beginning of May, so we can't even count on that.
After town
We don't-
meeting.
we don't- It's after town meeting, yeah.
Okay. So you don't think anything's gonna change from now until town meeting anyways?
Doesn't
Look
appear.
like it, okay.
Yeah.
So I'd be inclined to vote the budget and, get some certainty in place so the warrant committee knows
Okay.
where we are. So is there a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Moore.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next meeting.
Greg, do you want to stay to hear about turf update, or you want us to take that up right now?
What's that?
We can talk turf update if you want us to take that up real quick.
I can take notes
Okay.
if you need to go to your.
Yeah, I need to go.
You guys should go to the planning
I was about
board
to
meeting.
bolt as soon as she
Yeah, okay.
showed up.
All right, well, let's just go flip up to the top here, and is there a motion to table the January 25th minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye, opposed, unanimous, thank you. So that we can get Mrs. Tatro home at a reasonable hour, why don't we take up the turf field update?
Sure. So we are meeting tomorrow morning, is it tomorrow morning, Mike? Tomorrow
Yes.
morning with Power Corporation, and they did some borings last week with DPW, was great, helped us out with a backhoe, and they went around the entire area to do some testing and do some water testing, get a sense of what it looks like literally 10 feet under the ground. So they did a lot of that work last week with the engineers. They're going to talk to us tomorrow and let us know, what they found and what that looks like. Tomorrow evening, I know the Board of Selectmen is taking a look at the warrants, so I'm sure that will be one of the things that we talk about tomorrow night is one of the warrant issues. When we met with the Board of Selectmen last week, one of the things, they asked me some questions about that, and I think one of the things that we'll have to do as a committee, in my conversations with Mike Sullivan, we've pledged $300,000 for this program over the next 10 years. So we said that we would pay for the bonding cost this year through outside revenue, and that we would commit $30,000 a year for 10 years going forward, which essentially pays the interest in the first few years, but then goes to the principal as well. We figured out that, based on what we've been getting for revenue for building use and field use, we'll be able to cover that. And we have some contracts in place that weren't in place before. So we feel very comfortable with the revenue stream that we've been getting the last couple of years, that we'll be able to cover that for the next 10 years for the town. And certainly they were happy with that as well. So now we just got to wait. The PAR is also doing the bid documents, and they'll be putting that out to bid. They're going to go over the timeline with us tomorrow, so that we have a hard and fast number for town meeting. It won't be a guesstimate, it will be what it's going to cost. And then, once we get that in, they'll be able to start right after graduation. So kids will still be in school when they start doing this.
And how long is that gonna take?
So that they will, if they start right after graduation, by the second or third week in September, it'll be done. And it's playable right away.
And so what would we do with the football team, like from August into?
So I think they'd have to be on the practice field, and we'd have to arrange that because we have football, soccer, field hockey all doing their camps during that time.
Mhm.
So we probably have to utilize Wheelock and behind the middle school, and then we would look at maybe doing away games for those three sports for the first
Mhm.
few weeks of the season. And we'd have to look at that. Certainly soccer can play at Wheelock, but I'm not sure we could do football or field hockey there, so we'll have to work that out. I did see the schedule actually yesterday, the football, and they have the first 2 games of the season are home. So we'll have to figure out how that all works out too. But we don't want to make any changes until the town approves it.
Yeah, I mean, does field hockey play at Metacomet, or they play at the high school usually?
Games at the high school,
Okay.
practice at Metacomet, yeah. Or JV plays at Metacomet too.
Right.
So 30,000 in annual revenue, is most of that's coming from new revenue you anticipate from
Correct.
from the fields, right?
Right.
We're not taking revolving account revenue right now and committing it to, that's currently spent on something else.
Right, so we have agreements with some outside vendors that we put in place that will easily get us there each year.
Great, other questions?
No?
So that's, moving right along, and I know that the high school is busy trying to organize some babysitting and those kinds of things for town meeting night for parents, and they'll get the word out for that.
And when they put it out to bid, are they bidding, I forget the terminology, I'm sure it's in actually, because that was at this meeting, but what level of protection are they bidding in? What level of padding are they bidding in? To the
All
bid?
right.
For soft costs? Or?
No.
Maybe the different
Concussion
levels
avoidance.
of the
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
the
It's
types
the
of
shock
turf.
pad.
Yeah, I got it.
So,
Yeah.
that's what we really want, the shock pad. I mean,
Right,
that's
okay.
what we think is the most important thing. That's what professional teams are going to college, big colleges are going to that. There's that whole piece on reducing that Gmax force against someone's head in a concussion, and that is what we'd like to do, and that takes the place of the crumb rubber. So
Right.
there's a little bit, that's a little bit more than what the one that we have projected, but we feel that right now, the way the industry bidding is going, we'll be able to secure that with a 1.4. That's what they're letting us know. That's what they told us at our last meeting, that we'll be able to do, they feel like, with their numbers, that we'd be able to do shock pad and acrylic coated sand instead of the traditional crumb rubber with that 1.4. So that's, they'll give us a better idea tomorrow. I hope that's good news on what they found tomorrow,
Right.
but they'll let us know that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you had mentioned that, Chris, at the meeting, that you felt that the shock pad was really the way to go.
Well, they did a very
It did really-
compelling job of telling us we needed it.
Right.
It's such an important public safety issue.
It is, absolutely.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Sure.
Has anyone pushed back on you on the 1.4? Or are you expecting it to be 1.4? Because Mike Sullivan came to a warrant committee meeting
Mhm.
saying that it could be 1.2 rather than 1.4. And I don't want you to get in trouble if it changes to 1.2 when you really need 1.4.
Yeah, so he had mentioned to us about the 1.2, but with a $200,000 reduction, but that wasn't really in our plans with that. So that was before we had pledged the 300,000 too. Was that the last meeting that we saw him at?
I believe that the last kind of spreadsheet that we got from Mike Sullivan has what everybody has asked for, and then
Right.
it has what he believes it will end up being,
Mhm.
that we could kind of count on as kind of like built-in reductions kind of
Right,
thing.
right.
And I'm 99% sure the last one says 1.2.
He said that to us too, but we, there's.
Well,
Till
I
we get
guess
the
what-
bids.
Till we get the
bids
bids,
could
we
come in at
don't-
1.8.
Are you gonna have bids before town meeting, do you think?
We'll have a number before town meeting, absolutely. Yeah. So we'll go that night with an actual number of what's going to be.
Can you do me a favor and send me or one of us the number you get?
Absolutely.
versus the number that comes from the other direction?
Absolutely. As soon as we get this, and we won't get that probably until a week before town meeting,
That's fine.
so we'll have it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon.
Where
Where do you want to go in now?
Hey, that's a good question. Why don't we go to the New York
Back to
trip?
the top.
New York trip.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. The AP Literature class would like to go to New York City, and it's actually something that was Julia Perry, one of the students in the class, had organized, and so it's not an overnight trip, which you folks usually approve. Thank you. But it is out of state, so I just wanted to bring it by and let you know what they're planning on doing. So they're doing an all-day trip to New York City. They would take the Acela, leaving from Westwood at 6:21 in the morning, and then they would go to New York City, have lunch, go to see Long Day's Journey into the Night by the Roundtree Theater Company, and they would go to either Central Park or Times Square, have dinner, and then be back at Westwood Station at 10:50 that evening. 19 students and 2 chaperones.
Sounds like a long day,
I
but
know,
A long day, but a great
Awesome.
experience.
Yeah.
right.
Great experience for them. So I ask that you would approve that for the high school AP Literature class.
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Good
Thank
luck.
you. Should be a great trip for them.
I recommend Central Park and not Times Square for dinner.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
just me. High school kids,
FYI.
high school kids are probably all right. Donations, Dr. Marshall.
Thank you. So we have a few donations that I'd ask you to approve this evening. $2,781.25 from the Medfield Memorial PTO for field trip transportation. $250.24 from Target Take Charge Education Program to Blake Middle School. $146.04 from Target Take Charge Education Program to Wheelock School. And $42 from End of the Year Pizza Party for Blake Basketball to Blake Middle School. Ask if you please approve those donations.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Do you have letters for me to sign on this?
I did not bring those, I'm sorry.
That's right.
Apologize. Bring those next meeting.
Sorry. I think we're down to the meat of your report, Dr. Marshall.
Okay, so thank you. Most Likely to Succeed documentary, I just want to FYI, on March 29th, MCPE will be hosting that evening here, in which I think we have 125 already registered. So that's a documentary on an alternative high school that really takes the makerspace that we're doing at Blake and other places to heart in terms of that's how they do their curriculum. I mean, their curriculum, it's high-tech high school in California, and it just follows a group of kids and teachers and shows folks how different high schools can run. And it's really not, it's not something that we're going to look at and say, oh, we're doing everything wrong in Medfield. That's not the case. It's really just a documentary to have conversation and look at the fact that a lot of things in education have changed a lot, and a lot of things haven't changed a lot. So it's really just a community showing in a way to promote conversation. And then right after the showing of the documentary, we'll have small groups and just have discussion afterwards, so that we'll go to different classrooms, and a member of the administration and a member of MCPE will be there to facilitate and just have a conversation with folks in the community. I know Anna May has been a really big promoter of this. She was the first one to see it out of the group and actually brought it here for us to see it, so I don't know if she has anything to add, but.
I want as many people to come as possible, because it is a great conversation starter.
Right.
Superb film, yeah.
And so this is at in the high school auditorium?
It is.
Yes.
Okay, and it's 6:30, right?
Yes.
6:30.
And,
Okay.
and you can go onto the Coalition website and get one of those Eventbrite, book
Mhm.
your spot,
Right, and then there's gonna be a little roundtable discussion afterwards?
breakout
Right.
sessions,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Can I ask you to send up, Dr. Marshall, a personal invitation to the warrant committee on that?
Sure.
I think a lot of what we've been talking about with them has been the evolution of
Great idea.
education, and I think it might help.
Thank you. Let me just go here. No, I skipped over the strategic plan. I'll go up and do that. I skipped over that one. We're back down.
Oh, yeah, I crossed it off, that's my fault.
Okay. The strategic plan update, just to give you a sense of where we are, so the hard copies are at the senior center and town hall. I haven't got it to the library yet, but we're gonna get it there this week. We have so far 635 responses online to our survey. 30% of staff, 67% of parents or current students, and 3% represent the other. So I talked to Josh Perry. We were gonna do something in Hometown Weekly this week. And then I'm going to send out a reminder to parents again this week, and we're going to end it on the 23rd. So that gives folks about 10 days or so to get that done.
Cool. So have we sent it to alumni in Newtown?
So I have, actually, I'm going to be I have the contact for Newtown, and then Chris Potts is going to send it to the alumni for
Oh,
me.
goody.
So she's going to take care of that. She has a pretty big list.
Yeah,
So
she does.
she volunteered to do that. I spoke with her last week, and we're going to do that this week. So
Oh, good, thank you.
give folks at least a week to do that from the
Right,
alumni.
great.
But I thought, 6:35 is pretty good so far. I think that's and if we need to extend it a couple more days till the end of the day on a Friday, we can do that. But
Right. So they're gonna put some in the children's section at the library?
Yes.
The public library?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah, so we have the hard copies there with the
Yeah.
envelope. the date, and they're all numbered and all that, so we have
Perfect.
all that for them. And I'm sure there'd be a good response. I mean, I think that having 635 so far is great, and then we'll
Yep.
remind people, I bet it'll go close to 1,000.
Yeah, perfect, thank
So,
you.
Good data. Then we can look at going through that in the beginning of April and hopefully scheduling a day prior to April vacation, look at some of this data and do some goals. Okay, now back down the other way here, okay. Metrowest Adolescent Health Survey meeting, so we had that last week. I thought it was pretty well attended. I think we had 65 parents. It was great. I mean, Susan Kyle did a great job with her presentation. Then Christy Barney, who's also a parent but works in the mental health field, has for 27 years, did a great job wrapping it all up and giving us some really good solutions and strategies to work with our kids and how to recognize mental illness and those types of things. So I thought it was really well attended. It's a great way to start the conversation. Now we just need to move forward with that. And I'll be going on Thursday to the Metrowest meeting in the morning. They have a meeting for administrators and teachers, and I'll be there going over. They're going to talk about, similar to what Susan talked about, is how special populations of kids are affected, through mental health, and talk a little bit about that. So, the ball's still rolling on that, but I was really happy to get the response that we did, and I know you guys were there and don't have anything to add, but I thought it was great.
Yeah, so it was a good night.
It was long, but
Definitely.
it was.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
long, but it was good.
I had these grand plans of how to wrap it all together, but after 2 hours and 10
You were
minutes, it was like,
done.
thanks so much for coming.
Right.
I just think it's great. Susan Kyle's been doing this forever. People keep saying to me, why are we finally doing this? And I keep telling people, we're not finally doing this. We've been doing it every 2 years.
Mhm.
And so I went back and I looked, because, this will be I'm finishing my 6th year on the school committee, and I know we've done it before. And the Google confirms that I'm right. Then on March 18th of 2014, Susan Kyle did not the exact same presentation. We've tried different ways of
Mhm.
packaging it, but she did, she paired it with a Be a Parent, Not a Pal presentation.
Right.
And that was focusing both on social host liability and the survey results.
Mhm.
And then back in 2011, she likewise did a presentation here at Blake, focusing on the middle school survey results. So we've been doing it for a long time. I think, parents as their kids kind of age into the grades where they get the survey, they tune into it.
Right.
And I think, back in 2012, and even I think in 2014, we were still using the Thursday packet.
Mhm.
And, by this time of the year, nobody read the Thursday packet anymore. And I think we now do a much better job of getting word
Direct
out
emails.
in multiple
Mhm.
different ways of getting it out, whether it's through direct emails and letters home and Twitter. And, I'm sure, Nat's just constantly pounding that in with his blog, too.
Right.
I think he updates about every 16 minutes now. So I just want to thank Susan, because, I think she's getting a lot of credit deservedly for doing it this year, but she's been doing it for a very long time. And I'm sure even before I was on the committee that was
Right.
going on. So.
Yeah, she did a nice job, really nice job. So that went well, and, more to come on that, absolutely. And I said, this throws me off when I have to go out of order like this.
I'm sorry.
I'm checking off
It's just
one,
a
I'm
test.
checking-
It's just a
I
test.
checked off this one.
By my count, we're on a district recognition.
Okay.
I was surprised when I walked in, you're already on the budget.
Well, we knew your partner had to get somewhere else. So.
So recognition, I just have a few things for you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Just want to congratulate the cast and crew of Cinderella this weekend. Had a great showing, nothing but positive feedback, and the kids worked really, really hard on that. So Mary Ann and the kids do a great job with that, and certainly was loved by many people in the community. Winter sports are coming to an end as well. Our girls hockey and basketball did really well and lost this past week in the finals. Boys lost in the finals, and happy to report that boys hockey will be playing for the state championship Sunday at the Garden. So we're happy they won a big game this weekend, and looks like they'll be playing Lincoln Sudbury for the state championship. Also want to just Spring Fling concert is Wednesday night, so looking forward to that. And then I had it in my book, but I'm not sure what day it is. Bandorama is either
Tomorrow.
next week.
Wow.
Is it tomorrow?
Yep.
Oh, it's tomorrow. I knew it was somewhere around here. And that's, that is a really neat event, because you get to see the progression of kids, and you see them when they're in the 4th and 5th grade band, and then you have them in the same room having the orchestra and the band of the high school play. It's just a really neat scene, so I would recommend anyone I guess it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Check my
Everybody,
calendar.
if you want to see.
I
Exactly.
learned that last year.
Yeah. You'll be at the selectmen's meeting then.
Exactly, so I'm gonna miss it.
I'll be at the warrant hearing.
You too. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Public input. Going once, twice. Of course, yeah. We love to have
Is
questions.
there a policy against or for fan buses for when they're in tournament? I just have seen other schools doing it.
There's, I saw
PTO
online today,
has-
there was some work.
So
going
what-
Well, I
on
know they've
towards
done
it.
them for the championships. I
Yeah.
guess my question is more about that basketball game that we went to that was out in Worcester.
Right.
So, and there were so many kids there from Marlboro, and there was
And not
like
many kids.
12 kids from Medfield.
Right.
And I'm just curious if
So-
it's a school policy.
No, so
that we don't do
what
that.
happens is that we put it out there to the kids that are interested, and they have to get a certain amount of kids. Like, we didn't do one for this weekend, for the hockey game, because only 30 kids were interested. So we need to have more than that to pay for the bus and all that, so.
Can I make a suggestion
Sure.
that's passed on? The only reason I knew about the potential fan bus on Sunday was because I hopped my son's Facebook, and I
Mhm.
saw that he was invited to a group, but there was never an adult email that I saw or a Twitter post about it.
There-
So when I had asked a few other parents if they were gonna send their kid on the bus, nobody knew it existed.
There was definitely a Twitter post.
Yeah, that,
There's
I wouldn't have
definitely
known
a
about it
Twitter
unless it was a Twitter
I was
post.
gonna say,
Yeah.
I didn't see the Twitter, I already
Yeah.
knew about it.
Eric
because
Scott
of
sent one
Facebook.
out for that one. He just sent another one out this morning, I think, for this weekend coming up.
Although I was coming up from the Cape on Sunday, and given how many young Medfield students passed me at an unreasonable
Well, I'm
rate of
sure they
speed,
were
I
there,
would
you know,
have.
I'm sure they
would've
were.
been
I guess
good
I'm just more
to have
curious
that,
about
yeah.
it. I would have loved to have gotten my son to
Yeah.
go on a bus on
Right.
Sunday, but he also wasn't willing to sign up because I didn't think he thought it was cool. But, I was just curious if there was a policy for it.
No, the policy is just that there's nothing in the budget for it, so that
Well, the
it
kids
kind
would
of
have
has
pay
to
for
come
it,
up
which is
to.
Right.
absolutely, so I guess I was just more of a,
They need to do a better job selling it at the school, yeah.
to do it, other than necessarily, I would expect the kids to pay for it, that's
Mhm.
not the.
No, there's no, personally, I'd rather see him on the bus than driving, given what I saw the other day, yeah.
Well, I would rather too,
Yeah.
you know, because my son wants to get in cars with
Yeah.
kids that maybe shouldn't be driving.
Right.
But,
I mean, I had a conversation with MIA last year about that in particular, because I just have a hard time with the fact that we probably passed 15 ice rinks from Medfield to
and it's on the
Bourne,
Cape,
and it's there,
I know.
when there's so many other rinks that it could be at, and they contend that because that is larger, that it can hold the fans. I mean, I think it's a financial issue. I think Gallo is cheap for them,
Yeah.
and that's why they do it. I don't know why you'd want to have high school kids, especially last year, we had games during the week at 7:30 at night. I don't know why you'd want to have kids doing that, but when they could be in Franklin or
Right.
whatever, so.
Foxborough.
That's a little frustrating, but it's out of our control, but I just complain when I can.
I would think my only suggestion would be if, I know I definitely would have seen it more if it was in Parker's weekly
Mm-hmm.
email blast. Like, I always click on that and read
Yeah.
it, and I don't remember seeing it, it might just
Okay.
be.
Yeah, I'll pass that along. That's good. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. Okay, upcoming meetings, perhaps as soon as the next meeting, we will have an update on the elementary school day committee and a recommendation to the committee. When is our next meeting? April
The
4th,
4th.
so hopefully,
Yes,
hopefully by then. We will, at the next meeting, also, again, review the budget and approve the budget mailer. Is that enough time to get the budget mailer out?
It will, yeah. So as long as last year, we're targeting the week of April 8th to get it out, so that would give us time for any corrections that someone wants to make, or adjustments.
Improvements.
I'm sorry, improvements.
When's town meeting, remind me?
The
Monday after
The last Monday.
April break.
25th? The 25th or 26th?
Okay. 25th, yeah, 21 days
Yeah,
after.
Monday the 25th, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Eileen, you have anything to add?
Just good luck to the boys on Sunday.
Yeah.
Again, I want to thank Susan Cowell for doing the Metrowest presentation. I think she's done quite a few of them. She's done them for various groups, and she's
Yes.
done a phenomenal job. And it's just great talking to parents, because I think that's a major key, is talking to parents, getting people on the same page, is drinking okay. You know, we need to talk. So I think she started a great conversation, and thank you, Jeff, for promoting her and getting her to talk. Yep, I want to mention the Cinderella play. Those kids are so talented. It's so wonderful. It's so exciting. And also the memorial, and Dale did Read Across America, and some of us
Right.
read, and that was really fun and cute, and that's a great
The
day.
kids are really excited for that.
Yeah, totally cute.
Yeah.
So,
Did all the schools do it, or just Dale Street?
Dale Memorial.
memorial.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's all I got.
Great. I have nothing else except there is an election coming up. Hope everybody will make sure to vote in the municipal election. There is one contested race, but I think it's important. A friend of mine ran a report that said in the last 5 elections, I mean, you could barely find anybody who voted in each of the last 5 municipal elections, and you miss out on some important decision making when you don't go over and do that. So, move adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
You're watching Medfield TV, community show.